So it's Tanya Bridge Malone back with another YouTube video. So let's have a conversation. Get this ash off my phone. I really want to talk to y'all about if y'all ever been through past dramatic events or something happened in your family. I feel like God's speaking to me. Don't name drop. How we go about expressing what we've been through in our past and things that have mainly made us who we are today, and how we look at other people. When we go through dramatic events and traumas in our life, a lot of times that can cause PTSD. People in wars, that can cause PTSD. People experience the death of a family member. I mean, things happen in this fallen world. And a lot of times people want to question God when things happen in the world. But in the Bible it says we live in a fallen world. And we are so we are so quick to blame God. And we have so many people out here who are lost, who want to come to God, but they think that they're not good enough to come to God. We have many Christians who judge other Christians. A lot of times people in the church will be the first ones to judge you and think they're better than you just because they are a Christian. We're not any better than anybody. None of us are better than anybody. We're all dealing with trials and tribulations. We're all going through a struggle. Each and every one of us are going through some kind of battle. And when you speak your truth, a lot of people come against you. A lot of people will come against you when you speak God's truth. This video is going to be a longer video. I want to get through to the people that are lost that no matter what you've done in your life, God will let you. If you knock on the door and accept Him into your heart, you ask Him into your heart, He will come in. If your heart is true and want the love of Christ. We got people out here who make tons of money, who are billionaires, millionaires, and they're not happy in their life because they don't have Christ in their life. They're still battling things just like me or you. We think because the world worships, the people of the world worship people who have money. If you think about it, talk about Trump. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he was the best for office, but who did we have to pick from? It was like almost having no choice at all. The first thing they take away from is the poor person. So they're trying to they're trying to make it harder to get food stamps. They're trying to tell you can't have pop, cookies, or chips for food stamps. You got that going on all over the internet. States are making different laws if you believe everything on the internet. But as I've well said, it's not good to pay attention to everything on the internet because a lot of things on the internet are not true. It's misconstruing. So what are you to believe? Do I believe people should be able to get pop, sodas, and cakes? Well, I don't see nothing wrong with it as long as it ain't in excess more than what you need, But we know that stuff that is healthy for you costs more money in the stores. We talk about sugary stuff, but what about all the processed meats that people buy? That food stamps is always going to pay for meats. There's stuff in that, chemicals and stuff that's not good for you either, but we pray over our food. God blesses the food. Pray over your food. God can heal you of anything. I struggle with this myself. Because I know God can heal me. But I live in a fleshly body, so I'm not perfect. But my thing is, we talk about all this stuff, and I don't know where all this is leading. God will guide me as I go on in the conversation. But many a times we want to judge people before we take the speck out of our own eye. I'm guilty of it myself. I don't speak of nothing on this channel that I haven't battled or faced or that I'm not facing today. You know what I mean? Because I'm growing as a Christian. We think because somebody's a Christian that they're perfect. So we're quick to call them out when they cuss. We're quick to call them out when they smoke a cigarette. We're quick to call them out if they admit that they have trouble with remaining abstinent before marriage. We got many people on the internet calling out Christians because they're not abstinent before marriage. But are these people being abstinent before marriage? 9 times out of 10, they're not. You see people every day having children out of wedlock. And we want to judge those people, but God don't want you to abort the baby because you wasn't married. That's not what I'm saying. God blesses all children. Children didn't ask to come in this world. You created the child. If you created the child, no matter what the circumstances are, you should have something to do with that child. You created it. If you laid down and made a child and you decide to abort the baby because you were not prepared for it, but you didn't care to lay down to make it. We're not trying to be hateful on this channel, but we are speaking truth. When you have a child, it's not good to abort it. We do have freedom of choice in this world, and God gives you freedom of will, but He would rather you keep the child. But in certain circumstances, I can say that it's up to the person to make the right decision. But most of the time when people abort children, it's because they don't want the child. They're young, they don't want it. Then don't lay down and make a child without using, if you're going to have sex before marriage, you need to use a condom. If you're not on birth control, even if you're on birth control, you need to be using contraceptives. I'm just being honest. Because if you create a child and go give it up for adoption, that's better than aborting the child. One thing I will say is there's a lot of people on the fence when it comes to abortion. But now I'm going to move on to another subject. First of all, God gives us freedom of will. When we sit around and we judge people, because we are all bad about doing it. There's not a person on the face of the earth that is probably not gossip about somebody behind their back. Many people will not admit to it because they are not humble enough to admit to it, but we've all been guilty of doing it. But I do not believe that God wants us to name drop people. Many people gossip about people because they have nothing else going on in their life to be happy of, so they want to bring others down and assume things of them that they do not know. But first of all, if you love the Lord and you're seeking the Lord, if you ask Him into your heart, He will come into your heart no matter where you're at. But for us Christians to sit here and judge other Christians is not good to do. One Christian is no better than the other. God loves all people, saved and unsaved. This is what many are not speaking on. Many judge people by the way they dress when they come into the church. Many throw their judgments like they have never committed a sin in their whole life or ever made a mistake. Many people are quick to call out other people's innuendos, but they don't see clearly through that window when they're looking at themselves in the mirror. Could you get the message any clearer? What remains in the interior walls of your heart? Who are you really in your heart? That's what explains your character. If you are quick to throw innuendos through the windows, I see many of people that pick people who have mental illness and know it before they get with them. Then when they get in the relationship, they complain they can't deal with what they deal with. They say that they only think about themselves. I don't know. But one thing I do know is that I have battled mental illness in my past. And one thing I will say is I'm on medication. But my thing is many people want to throw shade and have a lot of stigma for people with mental health issues. And I am tired of people being so stigmatized. They are too ignorant. And I'm not, they're foolish. Really, what I would call foolish to sit and judge the one battling a mental illness. I pray the stripes, the light of Christ over your life, and you are healed by the stripes of Christ. He gave healing 2,000 years ago. You have to believe it to receive it. Many of us battle that. We do. It is truth, and I shall be transparent on my channel. I do not speak lies, I speak truth. God's bold truth. And the battles that I fight. Because I am not perfect. For me to sit on my platform and say I have never been with a married man, to sit on my platform and say that I have never had sex outside of marriage, to sit here and say that I have never cussed, to sit here and say that I have never smoked cigarettes, to sit here and say that I have never lied, to sit here and say that I have never disrespected my parents, to sit here and say that I have not done things I should not have done, to sit here and say that I was a perfect parent, to sit here and say that I am a perfect form human being. I cannot say that because I live in a fallen world. And I am not perfect. So I do not lie on my channel. Y'all out here that want to throw innuendos through other people's windows, God is speaking to you through me, telling you you need to take a look at yourself before you go casting judgment on somebody else. Casting your judgments on somebody else that you don't know what they faced or how they battled or what they dealt with in their upbringing or anything they've dealt with. You judge and assume instead of trying to get to know. Many people in my life have judged me and not really known my soul. Nobody can know you like Christ does. That's why I don't believe everything people tell me. Because a lot of times people are hiding in behind a fake facade, which I have spoken in my lyrics many a times. That is very true. Many people hide behind a fake facade. They think because they're a Christian that they have the right to judge other Christians and call them out on the things they do, but yet they don't think and look in the mirror to see what they have done. It is not our place to judge people. We can speak up against things without name-dropping people. I see a lot of people on YouTube that are casting they're casting their judgments. They're throwing their judgments, not casting, but throwing their judgments. I shouldn't say casting, God, but yes, I should have said, they're placing their judgments on people. That's what I should say. I have to correct myself sometimes, but God corrects me. Because I cannot cast anything onto anybody. I can only throw judgments. And that's what a lot of us do. Not that we should not speak up against things that are going on in the world if we're of the Lord, but we don't have to throw names out there. Because if you pay attention, you'll find out how somebody is. It don't take long to get to know somebody. You can see by their character. Do they put their words and their actions combined? Do they just speak of what they're going to do and they never do it in their actions? Then you know they're not true to you. It's hard to find a good friend that you can confide in. That's why Jesus Christ was sent. Because he will never he will not tell what you tell him. He will let you know if somebody is for you or against you. Many times we want to throw our judgments on people. Judgmental people. And we all are to an extent. So to sit and lie on my channel, I'm not doing it. Because I have been known to do it. What makes you think that you're better than the next person just because you may be saved? What makes you think because you think you're these secular rappers out here? We're just going to talk about secular rappers. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. But I'm not calling nobody out by name. But what I am telling you is, some of them in their lyrics will say they're a rap god. You are not a rap god. You are not a god. For you to say that you're a god, you came against the holy God because he is the holy God. You are not a god of yourself, no matter what you may say. Nobody is the best rapper of all time. No country music singer is the best country music singer of all time. Y'all always talk about the top 10 rappers, the top 10, 5 favorite music artists, whatever genre of music it may be. What y'all need to understand is y'all come against rappers. Y'all want to put down people who listen to secular rap, but did you ever listen to secular rap as a Christian? I did. God brought me away from that. But if I had never listened to secular rap, I probably would have never came to the conclusion I was supposed to be a Christian rapper. Abashikity. Everything happens for a reason. But my thing is, what y'all need to understand is not to judge the one who does, but to speak the light of Christ in a loving way. We cannot guide people to Christ through hate, for we cannot do so. 9 times out of 10, if you throw hate and rebel against somebody, that's not what God would want you to do. A lot of times we deal with hatred in our hearts. A lot of times people deal with hatred in their heart because somebody came against them and did something they didn't like, so they hold a grudge and rebel against them. Do you know that in Christian rap or any type of genre of music, if you are speaking out against a family member or somebody who wronged you, if you call them out by name, 9 times out of 10, they could sue you. They could sue you for defamation of character. You are calling people out by name, and God does not want you to call people out by name. That's just the way I feel like God is telling me. That's what I feel like I'm hearing from the Lord. That it's not good to call people out by name. You can speak against it without calling somebody out by name. People can see who people are by watching their character. It is not good to call people out by name. It is just not good to do. Some people may say, well, I'm trying to speak up in my emotions and the things I have faced from my past and dramatic and trauma events. You don't have to mention names. But either or, God will forgive you. But sometimes God is just forewarning you that if you speak out by name, they're liable to sue you. Think about Drake and Kendrick Lamar. That's an example of how Drake tried to come against Kendrick Lamar because he spoke out against him. And I don't know if that's what you call defamation of character. I don't know if that's what it is or not. I don't know everything about the laws of the world, you know. But what I will say is the laws in the, you know what I mean. But my thing is, you got to be careful speaking out against people's names because they can sue you. It can come back to bite you in the butt. It has happened. That is just an example. I'm not speaking nothing bad about Kendrick Lamar or Drake. I'm just telling you that is an example that I'm speaking of as to why it's not good to call people out by name. It only infuriates people more to rebel. God does not want you to rebel against the one who is not doing what they should do, but God will take care of it. You reap what you sow. You do not call people out by name to try to get clout. Because that is exactly what you're doing. You're calling somebody out by name. And even if they do you that way, that's what's wrong with the rappers, secular rappers. They want to name drop people and hate on each other in their lyrics, and that is rebellion. That is rebellious. And it is not what God called us to do. This is the reason why there's so many rappers in behind closed bars. This is the reason why there's so many rappers killing each other. They're killing their own kind. And I have to speak up against it. This is a very good lecture. You may call it a lecture, but it is truth. If you speak somebody out by name, they're liable to try to hurt you. This is called rebellion. They are going to rebel against you for defamation of character, and I don't know if that's what you call it. It may be. I could be wrong when it comes to that. I don't know everything. So don't sit on here and get on my channel leaving negative comments like I'm stupid, because you all know these things have took place. They have took place. There have been many rappers who have called out family members, many rappers who have called people out by name. This is what's going on in the rap scene. And it has happened many of times. You are lowering your standards when you speak about people against people and call them out by name in your lyrics. And you may say it's not clout, and it may not be considered that. I may be wrong on that. But one thing I will say is you don't need to do that. God sees all and knows all. He will take care of the situation. You don't have to sit there and plot off making money off somebody else's name, whether it was good or bad. But definitely not if it's bad. So you don't have to sit and call people out by name, for it's not serving you no purpose to do so. It's called rebellion. And we wonder why so many people are out here killing their own people. Quit rebelling against people. Even if they did you wrong, it doesn't make it right for you to get on your lyrics and start dissing people by name. Then they can try to turn around and sue you. And they may not win, but they may. Let God take care of the battle and the struggle. And you just keep shining your light, the light of Christ. Showing hatred is not the good thing to do. It is not good to call people out by name. It is not good to do. And I have given you many examples of rappers who have done so. And it's not to put them down. It's just to show you that it is not good. I'm not trying to name drop them. I'm only using them as examples of why it is not good to do. And I probably should not name drop anybody, but I did say Kendrick Lamar, and I did say another name just to show you as it is an example of what can take place when you speak out against people. When you speak their name in your lyrics and you come against them with something. This is what can happen. I'm only using it as an example. I'm not using it to put them down for what they did, because we all make mistakes. And sometimes we don't think about the repercussions of those mistakes, but I'm only speaking of the names just to show it as an example. I'm not speaking down about them. But what they did was not right. It was not right. It's okay to speak about things, but we don't have to name drop people. But I did name drop when I called them 2 people out. But I was only using it as an example of what can happen if you do choose to do that. And I'm not saying nothing bad about them. I'm just saying that is an example of what can happen when it comes to rap. I'm just using it as an example, not to hate on no one. But it's not good to do, because we see what the outcome can happen. We can learn from other people's mistakes too. I don't hate Drake. I don't hate Kendrick Lamar. I pray they come to Christ. I pray they start to rap lyrics for the Lord and not for the devil. And I'm not saying nothing bad about them. I'm just saying when you speak out against people by name, they can come against you and sue you. I'm not trying to put them down. I love them too, because God loves secular rappers too. He loves them the same as He loves you. And they can change their lives too if they ask Christ into their life and follow His light and not the ways of the world. Many people are writing lyrics to try to follow the ways of the world, what the world accepts. And they are not writing for Christ. And I'm speaking out about it. And there's nothing wrong. If you don't write for the Lord, but you write of positive things in your lyrics, that's nice too. You can speak of where you came from. Don't ever forget where you came from. To think that you're better than other people, because you're not better than anyone. I love all secular rappers because I don't hate them, because God called me to love all people. I only use the names that I spoke of as an example as to what can happen if you name drop in your music, and the effects that it has happened on the community. Many people do things in this world. It's okay to speak out about it, but we don't have to name drop. We got to be careful what we say. Some people will rebel when they sue you against revenge. It's revenge and it's greed for money. You don't have to slay somebody's name. But we are to pray for thine enemies. I don't agree with a lot of things that people do. But people don't agree with everything I do either. I just use those people as an example, to set an example to let you know that when things like that happen, people can try to sue you. And after you've worked so hard on your music and everything you tried to put into it, just to have it taken away thousands of dollars over something that you could have prevented. Let it be a life lesson not to drop names in your music when it comes to speaking of somebody badly. And we know that sometimes that's hard to do. And many people will continue to do it regardless of what God tells them. But you know in your heart of hearts it's not good to do. If at all possible, don't drop names in your music, because many people can come against you, even if you are speaking truth. It's going to cost your pocketbooks. That's all I got to say. But there's nothing wrong with speaking out about what's wrong in the world. There's not. And many times it's a fine line that sometimes we just can't help it if we drop a name. Sometimes I could drop a name on this channel, like I dropped Kendrick Lamar and Drake as an example of what can happen if you name drop somebody. You know. That's what can happen. People could come against you and sue you. That's the reason why God's telling me not to name drop. If somebody came against me in my life and made a mistake towards me, and I sit and I speak of it and drop their name, when I become where I have money, because it's going to come. When I make money, if I'm dropping names of people, they're liable to sue me. I got to watch what I do and what I say. But I was only using their names as an example of what not to do, because it's not a good choice to make. But I'm not hating them for what they did. I'm just saying, because none of us are perfect, and I do not hate them, but it is not right what they did. It is an example to set that you can learn from other people's past mistakes. We have all made mistakes. We're not perfect. But anyway, I hope you all got something out of this message. And on your way, on your come up to stardom, that you don't forget where you came from. And that you know that if somebody comes against you, don't rebel against them. Let it go. And remember, God will take care of it. Peace, love, and y'all be blessed.